Hello, and welcome to It's an Artful Life. I'm your host, Jillian Rhodes. This project started with a question: do the arts matter anymore? I decided to start asking people that very question and came up with this project, an experiment on how and if people see and experience the arts in their daily lives. Is it an artful life? Let's find out. Creative cities. In the past few years, I heard this term a lot. The city seems to be the way of living in the future, and there's been lots of attention given to making cities more conducive to creativity. Can our surroundings teach us to be creative? In the first couple interviews, I talked to artists. They're trained to see arts, and so they do, in everyone, everything, and everywhere. But not everyone sees the world in the same way, and those creative surroundings might be really important. My interviewee today travels with her boyfriend all over the world, and we talk about how she sees art in the various countries and cultures she's experienced. Obviously, we've met before, but can you just briefly introduce yourself?
Okay, Hi, my name is Mariana. I'm from Guatemala City. I'm 32 years old, and I'm visiting Korea with my boyfriend. He's here for business. I travel with him.
Okay, yeah. So, do you work or just kind of travel with your boyfriend?
I just travel with him. If there's like freelance jobs or volunteering jobs wherever we travel, because we stayed from 3 months to 6 months in countries, then I'll do that. Otherwise, I can't work because I go in countries as a tourist.
I see. I see. Okay, that makes sense. So, do you consider yourself an artistic person?
I like art, but I don't consider myself artistic. Like, I can, for example, when we're kids, or when I was a kid and I was in dance school, because I follow whatever the teacher said, I didn't consider myself artistic because I was told how to do something. I didn't create anything. So I always thought, I guess that's why I don't consider myself artistic, because I'm not creative. I know how to follow and imitate and copy, but to come up with stuff, it's a lot harder for me.
Okay, interesting. But you do experience art, or you take part in art.
Oh, yes. I love it. Like, my first taking part in art would be when I was like 5, and my mom finally allowed me to make messes, because as a parent, my mom was very organized and clean, and everything had to be in its place. So disaster room did not exist, and we had to clean our toys after everything, But that time, it was for a Christmas project, and I wanted to do Christmas cards for my family, but I wanted it to make them. There was this Barbie magazine that told us how to, mix glue with water and toilet paper and use cookie cutters, and you spray it until they're done, paint them, and glue them on, cardboard paper. And those were my Christmas cards. So I guess the creative part there was how to paint whatever came out of the cookie cutter, or what colors to put in stuff,
Right.
So once I was able to do that, I really enjoyed doing stuff with my hands. And then I was into baking and cooking and knitting, and once we got into home ec, sewing and stitching, and that became I never saw it as a homework, more like my creative space, quote unquote.
Right.
Because I was still following a guideline that a teacher would give me. You have to do shorts, for example, but you get to choose what kind of material you want to make them. Or if you want them long or shorts, but just shorts. That was our first sewing work, And now as a grown-up, I did dance when I was a teenager. My mom and I used to love going to the theater to watch ballets, and we've always liked musicals and singing and that whole thing. And we went to a flamenco show, and we just loved it. Like, we were in awe of all the colors and the dress, the makeup, the behind the stage, the in front of the stage, how the scenery behind it moved and in every dance. And my mom signed me up for that academy, and I danced there for 5 or 6 years until I graduated high school. Then I was on my own.
Right.
Then I stopped.
Right. But so would you say that experience at the flamenco show was your most memorable experience with art?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because if dancing because it wasn't just dancing as art, it was seeing the theater behind stage, behind the scenes, behind the curtain, because I was able to experience what a theater, not just from the audience point of view, but the people that put the stage, that design the stage, that draw the stage, because it's not just printed stuff they put in the back of the theater, but the lights, the people that created that stage with, and then it became like more and more like, oh, that looks like a rock, but it's actually made out of styrofoam, or stuff like that. Yeah. Props, that stuff. And then there was costumes, and one of my teachers was a seamstress, so my mom would, when we had to go for fittings because of traffic or whatever, we just waited out and we would just, stay with the teacher and see how she was doing the dresses, and then the hairs and makeup and that whole thing, and then the show, being there, dancing, performing, and getting out of the show, and that just became so magical to me. And I guess that's why I love going to the theater.
Interesting. So those are kind of big life moments. But definitely. Do you think that you experience art on a daily basis? So like, daily, like going to work, taking the subway, that kind of thing?
I guess that depends on how much art influences a culture.
Okay.
Because, for example, before coming to Korea, we were in Spain, but we were in Madrid, which is the capital. It's a very, like the word says, capital city, so it's very office-like, business-like. Unless you actually go to the museum, it's really hard to see art in the streets. You do see at night street art, like people playing instruments or trying to, they paint themselves in an old silver and pretend to be robots to get money, There's a lot of that in Europe. But when we were in, there's this country called Myanmar, it's next to Thailand. It was really hard to see art there, but that also has to do a lot of education and culture-wise and poverty-wise, So their way of art was when we went to a little town, I cannot remember the name right now, and they made bracelet out of bamboo sticks. They cut the bamboo, they dry it, and then they make bracelet, and then they put tart on it, and then they paint it, and it's gorgeous, but that's like the only thing they know. And it's a family-owned business, and they hire people from the town, and all the money goes for the town, So it's hard to see that leave that little town into the city and become more than just that factory's artistic way.
Right. So you've had different daily experiences of arts based on different cities that you've lived. That's really interesting. So which city do you think was the most artful?
I would say the ones that I've been, I would say Austria.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. I mean, I saw, and that also has to do with our routine. Like, my boyfriend works during the day, so we go out at night. Same here, like if he works at night and we go out during the day, what we see daytime or nighttime. And when we were in Vienna, he was working nighttime, so whenever we went out during the day, we could see more stuff than at night. And there was a lot of street artists that would do stuff with water glasses, that that whole, like Sandra Bullock in Miss Congeniality when she did the ding 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 the water glasses. The same. There was this guy that had like at least 50 glasses, different kinds, tallness, and filled differently, and his performance was just spectacular.
Wow.
There was this father and daughter that would play this weird instrument that looked like a guitar or like a table just filled with strings, and they would play music. And also, like, depending on, that was my first experiences riding a metro, because we don't have those in Guatemala. We have buses, we don't have metros or subways.
Right.
So it was cool to see at the stations, like, graffiti. A lot of people misinterpret graffiti depending on the area you're at. Like, if you're in a poor area or a dangerous, sketchy area, it looks more like destroying public stuff. But there were certain parts in Vienna where you can see graffiti that was just gorgeous, you know. And when they painted side of buildings and park benches, stuff like that, it was beautiful. And you have the opera house and theater, and there's always people on the street giving you flyers for little concerts or free concerts, or just come see us, you know, just come see what we're doing, or see if and then they would ask us, like, did you like it? Do you think you could go somewhere? How much would you pay for this? You know, just to influence more people playing the violin, people dancing. And there they have a lot of Mozart and, you know, those kind of influences. So it's kind of easier to find. But yeah, that was definitely the place that I felt surrounded most by art.
Oh, that's cool. So, you know, as you said, it changes by the city and the culture that's around you. But do you think if you, all over the world, if you kind of took away that daily art, so the graffiti and the street musicians and that kind of stuff, you know, what do you think life would be like? Or would...
I don't know. I would think it would be pretty boring. I don't know. It's like the personality of that city, you know, because it's the little artists that give the flavor, the season. It's like making a meal, you know. If everybody made noodle soup with chicken, no salt, no pepper, that's what life, or that's how I see it, that it would be like without those little street arts. Those are the little seasonings for that city, you know, depending on the instruments, what they can afford, what the paint. There was, where were we? Yeah, it was in Vienna. There was this Asian, it was funny because there was this Asian couple, and they would spray paint on paper, like sheets of paper, but they would make this beautiful, like, scenery, like a wolf howling to a moon, or mountains or stuff like that with spray paint. And they would fire it up to dry it, and they would use, like, I can't remember, I can't say the name right now, like stencils and stuff like that, to create like back and forth stuff. But yeah, most definitely I would say it would be just chicken noodle soup without salt and pepper, without the art. Okay,
that's a good image. So the next question is kind of similar to that, but the other way around. So if all of that art was still there, but that we were unable to experience it or be part of it in a way, how do you think life would be?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
No, I mean, it's a complicated vision because it's hard to imagine, but, like, you know, for example, when you see a street musician, it gives you some sort of feeling. So this kind of, it's like, do you think if you saw the musician was there, but you were unable to get that feeling from it, I mean, what would that be like? Like, do you think would you miss it?
Most definitely. I mean, you can't miss what you don't know and what you can't have, but that's the beauty of art, that everything that people, and I guess it depends on how open-minded a person is. Because I love movement. I love music. Like, I cannot, the first thing, I don't know if it's because I spend a lot of my time by myself and music becomes my companionship. I'm not saying, I can't go a day without music, but it is pretty empty without it. So I would say that a person that has no emotion after hearing, even if it's a crappy song on the street, but not have an emotion or a reaction, I would say it feels pretty empty or lonely. I don't know. I really don't see myself not having emotions over music or just watching somebody make movement out of something.
Right. Well, it's just kind of part of you, so it's hard to imagine what it would be like without it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I guess the last sort of wrap up that I wanted to ask is about, you know, what does it mean to you to live an artful life? Does it mean anything?
Yeah, it gives me a chance that even though I don't feel I'm creative, to have the opportunity to either have inspiration to either do the same or different, or be I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, inspire. I guess inspiration. All this art inspires you to do something either the same or better, or to do something different, or to even just to search if that person can do it, or if that person makes that, what am I capable of doing? You know, it kind of makes me question myself about what more could I possibly do. But one, like I said before, if you don't know it, you don't miss it. But I didn't know you can do that with glue, or I didn't know you can do that with tissue, or I didn't know you can clack your shoes like that, you know. Until you see it, then all that art, I see it as an inspiration for other people to find out what's in their skills.
Okay. Interesting. But do you have any final thoughts or comments?
No, I don't. Just keep putting that season on that chicken soup. Life is good with it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being interviewed. It's an Artful Life will return next week with another interview. Thanks for listening.